Thank you, Ani, and thank you all for making time to talk about methane, something that is very important to my boss, John Kerry, and very important to the planet. We really appreciate the chance to talk about the Scale Initiative and what's happening here on a key piece of the methane puzzle that sometimes doesn't get enough attention, but we're here today changing that. A year ago, Mike Bloomberg, with Secretary Kerry, launched the Scale Initiative to do two things: to supercharge the work that subnational leaders are doing across the globe to deliver results, and to do a better job connecting dots between national and subnational actions. This multi-level collaboration is the heart of the conversations here today at COP, and it's great that we have the World Climate Action Summit and the Local Climate Action Summit taking place simultaneously. And today, we're really celebrating the first fruits of Scale's work. The initiative we're launching today is called Lowering Organic Waste Methane, or Low Methane, and its goal is to deliver at least 1 million tons of methane mitigation. On a 20-year basis, that's over 80 million tons of CO2 equivalent, and to do that well before 2030, working across 40 jurisdictions and unlocking over $10 billion to support the work. And I'll be honest, Ani's right, I care a lot about methane, so does my boss. That's because it's responsible for over 30% of today's climate change. And achieving the Global Methane Pledge, which now enjoys the support of over 150 countries to cut global methane at least 30% by 2030, is the fastest thing we can do to pump the brakes on climate change. There's really nothing that compares to cutting methane in its speed of climate benefit. But when I talk about methane, or when John Kerry talks about methane, we often hear much more about fossil methane, about oil and gas methane, than about waste methane. And we're here today to help change that, because the waste sector generates a fifth of methane emissions globally, and so we're here today to put waste methane on the map as well. We need to send a clear signal that cutting methane from the waste sector is going to be a major part of our work consistent with the Global Methane Pledge going forward. And the benefits of this will go well beyond climate. When we cut food loss and waste, we boost food security. When we separate organics from waste streams, we generate compost and other high-value products. And when we close open dumps and improve landfills, we cut ocean pollution and we improve public health and safety. And all this work is incredibly local in the waste sector. And that's why we're grateful to see cities like Lagos, Santiago, and Rio as front runners in getting the low methane initiative off the ground. We're hoping that maybe our colleagues from Brazil can put this work on the agenda of the G20 in Rio next year. And this work requires close collaboration with national governments. That's why it's great to have the national governments of Chile, Nigeria, Dominican Republic, and Indonesia willing to be part of low methane from the start. Others are also on the way. This work is going to require strong support from a range of stakeholders, and that's why it's also good to have the Inter-American Development Bank here. I want to congratulate President Goldfein, along with the European Union and the Global Methane Hub and C40 and the Under 2 Coalition and Rocky Mountain Institute and the International Solid Waste Association and Google and so many others that are stepping up and being a part of this part of the methane solution that's so crucial for containing climate change, for keeping a safer 1.5 degree centigrade future within reach. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that the session today isn't just about methane. Methane was just the first act of the Scale Initiative, and we look forward to much more to come. So after we talk about the Low Methane Initiative, you're going to hear from an excellent group of mayors and governors who are driving climate ambition across their economies. I also want to just note that at 3:45 today, and riffing on what Ani gave me an opening to note, there will be a summit on methane and non-CO2 hosted by the United States, China, and UAE. And it's a great opportunity to build on the Sunnyland statement that the U.S. and China just released, in which China for the first time stepped up and said that it would include economy-wide all greenhouse gases, including methane, in its 2035 NDC. And there's going to be a lot of news made at that summit, so I would really encourage you to pay attention there. It goes well beyond waste methane, but waste methane is part of it. So thank you, Ani.